Hello Earthlings!
Hey there, and welcome to another video.
And today we're gonna talk about anger!
We're gonna be talking about suppressed anger specifically. How do you recognize if you're suppressing your anger? Why is it bad to suppress your anger, and why we developed this in the first place? And at the end, how to access your anger.
And if you are new to our YouTube channel, my name is Ram,
My name is Mia.
and we share about topics that are related to personal development,
Such as spiritual growth,
emotional healing, integration,
shadow work, raw veganism, plant medicine, and how to create authentic, intimate, amazing relationships in your life.
and if you like to see more videos from us,
Don't forget to subscribe. There are basically two ways that you can have issues with anger, and the first one that is maybe easier to recognize is when you have this explosive way of expressing it that harms others.
and the other way where you suppress it and sometimes you don't even identify that you have anger, or you call yourself a peaceful person who doesn't experience anger.
So Ram and I have a lot of personal experience with the topic. So Ram comes from a society where anger is very normal
Explosive.
and kind of like explosive.
Yeah, it's like the norm. Like if somebody cut you in the street, you burn them. Or somebody had like take your turn in the waiting line, you just like go like, what the are you doing?
Yeah, wow, I'm already like, anger. Okay, and I come from Finland, Northern Europe, and there it's the opposite. It's very rare that people really assert themselves
Yeah.
strongly or express themselves with anger. It mainly comes out when people are drunk or through heavy metal, where people get to kind of access their anger in a safe way.
Yeah, so for the sake of this video, we're gonna cover the suppressed anger, which all over the world, like even in like a aggressive country where like fight is normal, it could be there's many people also experience this kind of like suppressed anger and make
Definitely.
enemy of anger and like identify with the peaceful, spiritual, whatever person.
Yeah, and especially I think this is a topic for many women. It is for both genders, but especially it's common for women in all countries. How do you know if you're suppressing your anger or someone in your life is suppressing their anger? The first sign is that you identify as a chill, peaceful, easygoing person who is never angry.
Zen.
Like a zen. You never feel anger. So this is a big red flag that you're actually suppressing it.
Are you one of those?
The second one is that you have these lingering feelings of frustration, resentment, irritation.
Passive aggressiveness, like it's a big thing.
If you have these lingering feelings, or that you tend to also maybe brush away, like feeling frustrated and then brushing it away like, oh, it's nothing.
I shouldn't be angry on this, it's such a small
it-
thing.
So like this is another sign that you might be suppressing your anger.
So mainly there is two ways that you learn anger is not okay, and you start suppressing your anger as a result of that. And the first one is,
So this is the one that I myself experienced in my childhood, and it's when we express anger and the people around us either walk away, so we feel rejected, or they punish us, so we are made wrong, or they humiliate us, so they might laugh at our anger, making the reason for our anger not valid. And this makes us feel completely unseen. It's very painful. You feel rejected, ostracized, misunderstood. And of course, as a result, we decide, I will never ever show my anger again.
and the second reason why we suppress anger, it could be big chance that in your childhood there was like explosive anger in your family. Let's say your mom or dad were like suddenly explosively angry, punching you, saying bad words, like hurting others. And at that time you learn that anger is very painful, not safe, and I won't be this angry person anymore because I see how this angry person, my dad, my mom, my uncle, anybody in the street, is harming themselves and others. And then this is how you learn that anger is not okay. And this is more of what I experienced in my childhood. It doesn't matter if you cover it with being ultra spiritual person, if you cover it with being a healthy anger person.
I don't care what all the new age spiritual people say. that you should be all love and light all the time. This is not true. It's bullshit. It's totally not authentic.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's never healthy to suppress anger or any emotion. The truth is, anger is very much linked to our boundaries. So if you suppress your anger, you inevitably will end up losing connection to your personal boundaries.
Yeah, and let people walk all over you.
As a result, you would just end up feeling violated, unseen, resentful, frustrated. An example might be you have a new roommate and this person is used to sharing everything, and they might just eat your food and borrow your things without permission. And if you're not comfortable with this
and you don't express it,
you might build up a lot of anger and resentment towards them. And of course they will continue doing it if you don't express anything.
Yeah, because it's normal for them.
Yeah, they will just wonder why is this person so grumpy and passive aggressive, and it will impact your relationships with this person. And they will not understand why. And
the resentment in the other person will build until a point where he's like, oh, I can't live with you anymore, you're such an asshole.
Yeah,
something like that.
And they will end up feeling completely blindsided by you. They didn't see it coming.
Yeah, why you didn't say before that I can't use your stuff.
Yeah, so most people in your life, they really don't want to cross your boundaries. People are not evil, but they cannot know where your boundaries are if you don't express them.
Exactly.
And they will accidentally cross your boundaries over and over again. Or it might be actually more accurate to say that you will cross your own boundaries.
By allowing them.
By allowing it. People really don't mind if you have specific boundaries. For example, things like, oh, I don't like you to touch my hair, or I prefer that you don't borrow this thing from me, or oh, I really don't want to go to IKEA with you because I absolutely hate it. People don't actually mind so much. But what they do mind is that if you keep doing those things, maybe for years, and then build up this resentment that impacts your relationship with them. And if they eventually find out that, oh, you never wanted to go to IKEA all this time, I would be going there every Saturday, and they will be completely fooled or lied to almost. It impacts the trust in the relationship.
And for those of you who not used to express your boundaries, it might be very difficult at the beginning to start with. But imagine that every time you don't express your boundary, you feel this anger, but you let it go and let it it's okay, then that after that you would feel kind of uncomfort in your body, and you might be resentful for hours or days or even months, or some people for the rest of their life for not expressing their boundary. So my thumb of rule for myself is to always choose immediate discomfort over long time resentment. So an example of expressing boundary from my life, a few months ago we visited a friend of us, and suddenly it turned that she has cats in the flat.
And he has a massive cat allergy.
So what I would do if I would not expressing my boundary, I was it's okay, I can sleep with the window open, it will not harm me so bad. But I kind of felt this anger coming up, I thought the problem is solved, why you didn't tell me before? And then I state that my boundary is not to stay at this place and choose to be in other Airbnb near to her. So that was choosing immediate discomfort, and believe me, at the beginning it felt very difficult. I know that it might disturb the relationship or the connection, but I choose at that time immediate discomfort above long-time resentment.
Yeah, and the situation was actually even trickier because it was her birthday, so we had to move her entire birthday to the Airbnb because he couldn't stay in the flat. So all the guests had to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and actually in the end it turned to be amazing alignment, and this is actually what happened when everybody is attuned to their needs and boundary. Always the universe it align you with fulfilling your needs.
It's very difficult for many of us to assert our boundaries in this situation because we don't want to disrupt the group dynamic and be the black sheep or something like that. But every time we do things that we don't actually want to do, every time we don't stand up for our personal truth, we're actually betraying ourselves. It's self-betrayal. And this is harmful for your relationship with yourself. Parts of you will learn that they cannot trust you to stand up for them and to have their best interest at heart.
Another thing that's like very important, like all the suppressed anger would stay in your body and harm you. Like we all know that anger is not good for your health, but why?
All the emotions are basically stored in the body. All the suppressed emotions, they stay. So anger, for example, is very much linked to the liver. So usually people who suppress their anger or have a lot of passive aggressiveness within them develop issues with the liver. And on the other side, resentment is very much linked to the kidneys, which is also a byproduct of suppressed anger. So if you wish to have a healthy body and allow your body to eliminate physical toxins as well, you want to have functioning liver and kidneys, because the physical counterpart of suppressed anger would be suppressed toxins staying in the body, impacting the health of the whole organism. A good way to start accessing your anger is to notice those subtle changes in the way you feel. So you might feel discomfort or a little bit
Irritation.
uncomfortable in a situation, not sure if you're okay with something. Yeah, you might feel irritation or frustration or resentment. And instead of making it okay, like, oh no, it's okay, give a voice to those emotions.
Try to listen, really listen to it. Maybe you can just like immediately start listening. Oh, that doesn't feel good. What is it? If you have a space, you can maybe write down.
Yeah, and oftentimes we are not aware in the moment that something happened, but we might get angry afterwards, like, oh, why did I not say this? Actually, I'm not okay with this. That's the perfect moment to take a piece of paper and write down everything that this thing makes you feel, and let it snowball. Let it snowball into the nastiest things that come out of you. You don't have to have filters here, and you don't have to feel guilty or shame about expressing this. What you're feeling is completely valid.
And make sure that you have a safe space to do this. I know some of you might live with somebody you feel anger towards them, and it might not feel safe for you to say those nasty things while they can hear you. So make sure that you have a safe space, safe container. You can write them down. You can like scream them in the pillow. You can like go somewhere where you feel safe and express them.
So the idea is not to say this to the face of the person who is involved. The idea is to have an outlet. It's kind of like a rabbit hole that you start going down, and then you find this massive beast of anger down the line. And the idea is to give it an expression. And that's it.
Exactly. Like I'm not a big fan at all with all this kind of soothing your anger, although I learn a lot of in my yoga teaching, like how to relax. But actually that's the opposite of healing anger, or like listening to anger, or having healthy life. Of course you can, there's so many techniques where you can suppress your anger, but the way to move to higher vibrational state is moving from anger to higher vibration, not suppressing anger and pretending, or like kind of like channeling something higher. It doesn't work, right?
So the outlet might be writing or saying exactly what you feel and giving it a voice. It might be physical activity like boxing or wrestling somebody. That's my favorite one. I love play fighting Ron when I'm angry, because I can just pour all of my anger into like physical activity, into tackling him. Or it could be listening to heavy metal, the favorite one of the Finnish people. But please don't go and punch somebody. That's not what we're suggesting at all.
And of course, expressing the anger to the person from an angry space will not give you connection.
After you have channeled your anger and found an outlet for it, the next step is to express it to the person involved in a vulnerable and non-violent way. So for this we really recommend nonviolent communication, invented by Marshall Rosenberg. And this might look like something like this, for example. We sleep at a different time. I sleep maybe at 10, whereas Ram likes to go to sleep at 12. And I'm super sensitive when I'm trying to fall asleep to noises. So whenever Ram is like, he's walking around the house doing his thing, and I hear him like, I don't know, close a drawer or something.
It's very quiet.
And I'm like, I'm awake. Okay, and this triggers me a lot. So the way I try to communicate this to him is, when you make noise in the house, I am not able to fall asleep. And then I feel a lot of anger come up, because I make it mean that you don't care about my need to sleep. And I really have a need to rest, because I feel better when I sleep early. Would you mind trying to be more quiet? When I communicate it in this way, he's able to receive what I'm saying without going on defense.
Yeah. While other people might say, you're so loud, I can't sleep.
Yeah, this is
Can't-
violent.
Yeah,
And the other person says, no, I'm not, you're so sensitive.
exactly.
So, yeah, when you express yourself in this vulnerable way, expressing exactly what it is you feel and what is your need, you're owning your experience, you're owning your anger and not putting it on to the other person.
Exactly.
And in this way, they can receive you and you get to be seen. And you get to be acknowledged in your anger.
Yeah, and if there are people who care about the connection, the relationship with you, they would probably listen to your boundary, like what I do, right?
Yes, you do. Remember that anger is always a cover emotion. What this means is that there is always a vulnerable emotion underneath anger. So after you start channeling your anger, in whatever way, getting it out of you, pay attention what comes after that. Usually, if you're present with your emotions, you will notice there is something else that takes more space now. It might be sadness, it might be deep hurt, vulnerability. So give space to these emotions as well.
Allow yourself to act on those emotions. So it might feel after like anger explosion, you might feel like the need of crying.
Yeah, allow yourself to cry. And it's very common when you start expressing your anger to the other person, even when you do it in a non-violent communication, usually this triggers the wound underneath it. So you might end up crying, and allow yourself to be vulnerable as long as it feels safe to you with the other person, so that they can actually see you, they can understand you better and where you're coming from with your anger when they see the vulnerability underneath.
It's very important also to know that it's valid to feel this anger. Like there is a valid reason that you would feel this way.
Even if the situation that provoked your anger seems quite small, or you might tell yourself that like there is no reason to feel this way, please understand that your emotions are always valid. You're not inventing your emotions. They are just there. They are indicators, they are signposts of that something happened that was not in alignment with your truth.
And anger happens usually as a response for external threat. This threat could be something like a physical threat, your boundary getting crossed, your need is not considered. So there will be like 3 emotional reactions: fight, freeze, or flight. And usually like the aggressive anger is a like reaction related to fight. And in the Mia situation, it will be like the freeze and the flight. By the way, tell us, when was the last time you get angry
Yeah.
and why?
Yeah, we would love to hear some examples.
Yeah.
What makes you angry? Oh my god, yes. I hate smokers. I can't stand. I'm sorry, if you're a smoker, it's not personal. I swear it's not personal. You might be an amazing person,
But you hate you.
I hate the fact that you smoke. No, not even that. When you smoke in public places, I can't stand it. I just get like, I get rage. Like, I can't even like describe it. I want to kill someone. It's so bad. It makes me so angry. And I've already like drilled down to what exactly it is. Like for me, it's a lot about feeling not considered, that I don't get to even have a boundary, because people are allowed to smoke outdoors. Nothing in the rules or in the society basically protects my boundary. In this case, the other person can decide to simply keep crossing it. So it's a very vulnerable position to be in, also to ask for the person to stop smoking. So it's difficult for me.
What makes me really angry, when people don't take me in consideration. Like when they kind of like do things without checking with me, I'm like, when I like make something clear and people still do like what I don't want them to do, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
It makes me really angry.
Let us know what makes you angry. We would really love to hear.
Yeah.
And also, if you fall more into the category of suppressed anger, which is me, or
Explosive anger.
which is wrong.
And where are you from?
Yeah, like your cultural background, how is that impacting your anger expression?
Yeah. Love you guys. Very
Yeah.
important. Subscribe so we have more beautiful people joining our community.
Yeah, sending you so much love. We hope that you can feel our bubbly
Our bubble.
new earth love, and that you feel our anger when we're angry.
Are you?
A little bit. I'm very good at passive aggressive anger.
I can. Ah!
That was a good one.
Love you guys.
We're not angry at you.